Now that you've got the A pedal formula down, and try not to get that confused with anything else. Remember, that was formula number 1. Let's go right on to the next inversion of the minor chord using the D lever that everybody finds most familiar. This one is probably the easiest to find, but the least useful in terms of patterns of licks or phrases or scales that you can use. It's nice to know this place with the D lever to find the chord, but not so much for the actual melody lines that you might get out of it. Let's say that. What I like about this one is that it's the closest probably to the major chord that we've got. So if you need to find the D lever minor, kind of remember this one. This is important to know, but you won't use it that much for your melodies. If it's a quick just chord idea, that's what we use. But let's go to the board and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Again, let's use the major chord, and this one comes from the major chord with the pedal down. So I'm saying 7 with both pedals, the A and B pedal down, give you an E chord, obviously. Now, if you move up 1 fret, and that's the formula, move up 1 fret, turn both the A and B pedal loose and just hit the D lever, and that's the one that lowers 4 and 8, remember. You get an E minor virtually right next door to E major. So you have the major on 7 pedals, the minor of E is right there. Now, that's not the relative minor, that's the true E major to E minor sound. We're going to get into where it is from the relative position here in a minute. But remember, formula number 2 is using the D lever, no other pedals, just the D lever. Now, to kind of give you another idea, let's look at it another way. Let's go over here on the board. You can see that we might be looking for a C minor, for instance. Take C major with the pedals down and move 1 fret up to 4 with the D lever, and that's where C minor would be found. Remember, you don't necessarily have to memorize that 4 with the D lever is C minor. That's not the point. The point is, from a pedal down position for any chord, not just C or not just E, it might be F or it might be B flat. From the pedal down position, you can always go to the right 1 fret, turn the pedals loose, hit the D lever, and you've got the minor chord. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of real nice pedal work that we can do here, as you'll see. But let's go on down the board here for a minute. Let's take the actual inversions that you hear a lot. Of course, we do have the 3rd, 4th, and 5th string, and this is our E minor position, like from 7 up to 8D, like our first example. You can play strings 3, 4, and 5, or 4, 5, and 6, or 5, 6, and 8, or 6, 8, and 10. And that's about it. There's not a lot here that we want to do in terms of pedals, because there's no other pedals that match with it all that much. So it's nice to know this thing. It's nice to know where the minor chord is, because you might want to get there in a big hurry. Now, our exercise in the book will demonstrate what we can do it, fortunately, and we're going to get back in the key of G, and we're going to use the same exact little rhythm track number 1, but we're going to be on page 3 in the book, and exercise number 3. So let's go right to the guitar, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We can take the 10A and B position for G this time, since that's the closest to the 8D. So we're going to play G up on 10, and then we're going to use the relative minor, which is the E minor, and it's 2 frets below or to the left with the D lever. Now that's a little pattern you want to start getting in your mind. You can play G on 10 with pedal, and then the relative minor or the 6 minor chord of G up there is 2 frets to the left and with the D lever. That's something you'll play a lot of. And any group you like, 6, 8, and 10, it always takes you back to an inversion of the E minor. Now our little exercise there on page 3 starts with 8 beats of G, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and back to 8D. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then we go back to 10 with both pedals, but change the inversion of the strings. And then back to the 8D for 8 pedals. 8 beats there. Now, the C, stay right there and just hit strings 4, 5, and 6. And then hit the 8D right there too. Now, the last C there, we come down another inversion. C on strings 5, 6, and 8. And then we go to the second line, E minor right there. And then we have a nice little change of pace here. Go to a D on 5 with pedals and slide to 10. So we're going to go 5 pedals to 10. And this is where we start again. It repeats back to the top, doesn't it? So we're going to play 10 pedals for G. E minor is 8D. 10 pedals, but different inversion for G, 8D. C, 8D for the E minor, C right there, but a different inversion. Now the second line, E minor again. And then a quick D. Now notice those are only 2 beats at a time, so you got to be quick. And then quickly start again. All right, let's play along with the rhythm track so you get a feel for the whole thing. This is pretty stuff, just not real fancy.
1, 2.
G first.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Go. Now E minor. G again. E minor. Now C. E minor right there. C right there. Second line, E minor. Be quick now. Start again. E minor. G. E minor. C. E minor. C again. And the E minor. D. G. G. C. E minor. C. E minor, we're going out now. D and end on G. And that's it. That uses the D lever. Notice we didn't have a lot of pedals that we could play around with there, and we didn't really play with much of the chromatic string work that we had before. However, we're coming to that. There will be a few little chromatic string ideas that we'll throw in there. Remember, the D lever is easy to find. The D lever formula is easy to remember because it's only 1 fret away from the major. Right here is where we want to kind of separate the two. Let's kind of refresh ourselves. The A pedal means 3 frets up from a no pedal position. The D lever inversion is 1 fret up from the pedal down position of the chord. We're going to come right back here in a minute. We're going to take that third inversion using the B and C pedals, which is the one you hear a lot on records. Most of the time you're going to hear the A pedal inversion, and most of the time you'll hear the B and C because they're the easiest to get some nice licks out of. The D lever is nice to know, but as you see, it's kind of boring. We can't get a lot out of it yet, but we've got other things. We're not through with this thing yet either. So we'll be right back. Take this one and get it well in mind.